All right. Hi, everyone. Hear me okay? Everything's good. Looking good. Seeing people in the chat. Good to see you all. Prepping with Sarge and Jean and the Quiet Prepper. See y'all so far. Thanks for being here. So I am going to wait for just a few more people to come, but today's chat is very exciting and something that I'm always very excited to talk about is prepping with pets. And I have some videos on this topic, but it's nice to do a live chat like this so that we can get that conversation going and talk about how we would all prep with our pets, you know, for all of us that have pets, from the little tiny goldfish to the to horses. You know, I want to talk about it all. I've thought about it all. But I want to know what kind of pets everyone has. Go ahead and tell me in the chat. And I'm going to ask it again when more people pop up. But if you have pets, let me know what they are in the chat. I have 2 dogs and we have chickens. And I've thought about how to. Well, the dogs, we have cats too. So the cats are posing a little bit of a problem lately. The female, we have a couple cats and there's a female cat and she's really great. She comes right up to us. She loves pets. But then there's a male cat and he he's a barn. They're both barn cats, totally outdoor cats. And we have the other male cat and he does not really like us. So we keep coming up with trying to find solutions. I'm like, if we need to leave, like, and we need to take these cats, like, the female is going to be good, but like, how are we going to wrangle this male cat? Like, how are we going to get him? He's just going to, I don't know. Like, you know, it's like, how long do you spend, getting, wrangling these animals before you absolutely have to leave, you know, if you can't wrangle the animals. And I think that that's part of the plan and the preparedness as well. You know, how are you going to wrangle these animals? How long is it going to take you? What type of training do they need in order to, be wrangled or whatever, right? Okay, so Prepping with Sarge says cat and dog. Are they both inside, outdoor? How are they trained? I guess that's kind of the biggest thing with a lot of animals. Like how are they trained? You know, are they trained with are they trained to go in a crate? A lot of people say put your animals in a crate in the vehicle, which you can do. But are they crate trained? Do they know how to get in a crate? Do they know how to act in a crate? But not just into a vehicle, even if it's in a crate, can be pretty stressful for animals, you know? So we have to think about that as well. Are they going to be able to eat or drink, or, you know, what's going to happen with that? So we need to kind of think about all that stuff as well. But, okay. My internet has been in and out today. I'm putting in the chat. My internet's been a little in and out today. I apologize if I break up for a second. I've noticed in the past few hours it's been kind of wonky, which is weird because it hasn't been raining. There's no bad weather. We're on cellular network, so it shouldn't be this bad. But okay, bring on the lions and wolves. Stick them in the back seat and pray for the best. Yeah, that's funny. One cat. I'm sorry. One dog, one cat, and 4 kittens. Oh, 4 kittens. Are they indoor, outdoor? I think having, knowing whether they're indoor or outdoor is kind of important too, just because, like, if they are those outdoor barn cats or those outdoor dogs, how are they used to getting in vehicles? Are they used to, contact, like a lot of contact, that kind of thing? What type of training are they used to, that kind of thing. And indoors, used to bugging out hurricane veterans. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. I think if anything, like my mom used to have 3 dogs. One of them passed away, so now she has 2 dogs. But the one dog that had the problems in the car, that one dog would just howl like the whole time they were in the car, and so she would always just complain about this, and I just kept thinking to myself. I never said it to her, but I just kept thinking to myself, well, why can't you work with the dog? Like obviously the dog needs to be worked with. Like if the dogs are anxious in the car, or they're howling like that, or they're just excited. Some dogs are just naturally excited, right? They're just naturally excited animals. They get excited because they think if they're going in the vehicle, they're going to go to the park, or something exciting, right? And so, like if they know that kind of habits, it can be tough to get out of. But our dogs, like, they've gone literally everywhere with us. We don't take them if we're just going to the park. We don't take them if we're just going somewhere. They've gone on 1,000-long-mile trips with us, so they're very used to the vehicle. Our cats, our outdoor cats, they're not. I have to say, they're not. So we do have a crate for them, so we'd be able to put them in the crate and then just put them in the vehicle and go. But yeah, so not trained yet. I think training is one of the most important things. 2 dogs, not trained. And it takes time though. Like, training animals takes time. Let's talk about horses. Like if you have those bigger animals, the horses, the chickens, and all these things, which are kind of wily animals, you're not going around driving around with your chickens, right? And if you have bigger animals like that, like goats or horses or that kind of thing, if they're not trained properly, dogs, whatever we're talking about here, if they're not trained properly, or you can't get to them, or you can't, if they're hiding from you, running away from you, whatever, that could be a serious problem in an emergency when you really need to get them and get them to safety, however you're doing that. And yeah, a well-trained pet is a happy pet. Just normal kind of routine or whatever. Yeah, so like if you do have to put them on a leash, or put them in a crate, or put them on a trailer, or whatever you got to do, and when I say trailer, I mean like if you have horses or something, goats or whatever, putting them in that horse trailer, that kind of thing, to evacuate them. That's going to be all kind of the things you have to think about. My dog is super silly. She's like a wild horse on loose, and she's so big and strong. Yeah. This actually brings up a really good point. There are actually some owners, and I'm not calling you out on this or anything, but that they have dogs or animals that are kind of overwhelming to them. And so I would strongly recommend that you get them into professional training instead of trying to do it yourself. With kind of dogs like that, they really do need that really strong structure. And then more specifically, of an outside trainer might really, really help you as well as your pet, like help you understand how to train your pet, as well as, them being able to train your pet. So, I'm just saying, I've taken my dogs to professional trainers. Some things I just couldn't handle, so I took them. But most of the time, we've trained our own dogs ourselves. But there's a lot of things you can't do yourself, especially if a dog is just really wild. Like if you have just a wild at heart dog, right? Maybe they need a little extra guidance that you're not able to give, or something like that. But yeah, that's my suggestion. It never hurts to have that a little additional training, I think. On one of our longer road trips, our cat laid in his litter box. We found out afterwards that this meant he was depressed. Oh, so sad. I didn't know that. Who told you that? That's so interesting. Let's see. I have a friend who's retired vet, and we have had discussions about prepping with pets, including them in our bug out plans. Yeah. So if your pets are not part of your bug out plans, I would highly suggest thinking about it now. How are they going? First of all, how are you going to get them involved in the drills, that kind of thing? Second, how are you going to keep them calm and them under control, kind of thing? Like if you're focused on a stressful situation, trying to focus on your dogs as well, or your cats, or whoever, is going to stress you out even more. And this is kind of what I say for kids as well. I say this for kids. Your kids need to be a little bit understanding of these drills and these situations as well And your pets can too with the proper guidance. And yeah, so thank you, Bacon. I appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Late or not, you're here. I read on some cat behavioral page because he had never done that before. Oh, well, that's interesting. It was just too long in the car for him one day. Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too. Our dogs will definitely kind of tell us when they've had it, and they need to get out. But that's another thing too. Actually, you just brought up another point. Animals will need to stop and go to the bathroom, drink water, eat, all these things. You will also need to go to the bathroom too, but you have to take that extra time to get them out. And if they cannot handle being off the leash, or they're in a place in which they have to be on a leash, then how well are they trained on the leash? And then then you're going to have to get out the water and get out the food and make sure you're in a safe place to actually do this. How far would you have to go in order to get to that safe place, to even begin with, to allow them to get out of the car? So these are all important things. You may be able to, dogs and animals can hold themselves, and so can you. But it just kind of depends. Like if you have a puppy or real small kittens or something like that, they have a harder time holding it. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Let's see. Okay. After 3 emergency relocations, my dog has developed separation anxiety. Yeah, that's unfortunate too. We have to think of their well-being as well. Our dogs see a suitcase come out, and you can already see that they get either very excited or they get very sad, because they know that we're either going to take them or we're not going to take them, and they don't know, And so I think in these kind of situations, we do have to really understand their mental health as well, encouraging them, giving them treats, playing with them, trying to just kind of taking care of their needs as well. Just because, they're just animals, whatever. Well, you have your animals for a reason, and it's our responsibility to take care of them. You know what I mean? And so, okay. So it's important, your pet's limitations, things they have a hard time dealing with. You try to introduce Felix the cat's like dog to different environments. Yeah, exactly. And this is actually a really great tip right here. Introducing your animals to different environments. I know that there were some people who were like, I'll never take my dogs to the, dog park because they can't handle other dogs. Well, with a little bit of training, I understand that's very, very frustrating. They can't be around other dogs. Why can't they be around other dogs? Are they aggressive? Are they just trying to be playful? What is their motivations there? So we have to understand a little bit about what's going on with them first, and then we can help them and train them. And that's why I suggest bringing an expert in. I've had dog trainers actually come to my house and help me with a couple things. So if you can actually have an expert come in and help diagnose a little bit, that could be really helpful too. But yeah, just in general, bringing them into different environments is really going to help them understand a lot of things too. Some dogs live their entire lives at their house and in their backyard, and that's it. I know somebody like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you are a prepper and you do want to make sure that they have the best time possible, as well as you, if you ever had to leave or evacuate, but not just evacuating either. It's taking care of them when you're bugging in as well. Get rid of this. It's taking care of them when you're bugging in as well. A lot of dogs are very scared of thunder and lightning. They're scared of certain noises, that kind of thing. I used to, one of my childhood dog was very afraid of thunder her whole life. And we just knew that, and we took care of her. We gave her extra attention, and we gave her what she needed. And so, knowing that these things happen is important as well, knowing how to deal with that. Yeah, okay. You just actually brought up another good point. I keep telling my family not to forget to bring my pets when bugging out if ever something happens to me, like if I get injured, or let's say you're not even home. yeah, you have to have contingency plans. Okay. So let's say you can't even get to your home. Let's say you're out about, your dogs are at home, whatever, cats are at home, whatever. Can your neighbor get your animals? Can your friends swing by and get your animals? Who could get your animals in the case that you can't? You have to have those contingency plans as well. Maybe you could call up your local vet. I used to have a vet that was just right down the road from us. And maybe you could call them and be like, hey, I live here. If there was ever an emergency and I couldn't get there, what service do you guys have? Who could I call, to have somebody come and get my animals? Obviously friends and family is better, but I don't know, maybe your vet would have that kind of service. I don't know. That would be crazy for them, but, who knows? You never know. Maybe they know somebody, or maybe there's a local dog sitter next to you that could come and get your dogs. Maybe a local dog walker. Maybe you could trust them, or whatever. It just kind of depends on your situation. But yeah, that we have to have contingency plans for our pets as well. I have an indoor cat, but the escapee learned to stop on deck for her harness. Now can catch her when she slips out easily. So that's interesting. Animals sometimes learn all on their own, but also sometimes, most of the time it's intervention from us, no, cat, don't do that, or whatever. Let's see. I'd guess having treats for them if you got to get out of town with them. Treats can be good and bad. One, an animal could be really anxious and excitable, and so treats may actually upset them. So they may have to go to the bathroom or throw up. So treats may be an okay idea if your dog is, if your dog doesn't get really anxious or anything. But if your animals tend to get anxious in car rides or things like that, no treats. I wouldn't even feed them at all until you came to a stopping point. Give them water, of course, if you can. But yeah, I would kind of avoid food if they get really anxious and stuff. I'm not a vet. Ask your vet on that, but that's been my experience. So please, again, don't just take my word for it. Ask your vet or whatever. But in my experience, feeding an anxious or excitable animal leads to, diarrhea and vomiting and stuff like that. So it can actually upset them a little bit more. And we don't want that. We definitely don't want any accidents. So yeah. Yes, their mental issue, they're not mental issues, but their mental health is very important. Again, if you can generally tell when your animal is unhappy in some way. Okay, thanks in advance, Morgan from India. Whenever bugging out, my capacity is limited. What should be the ratio of human resources and pet resources to be carried? I mean, your pet's got to eat just the same way as you got to eat. Your pet's got to drink the same way as you got to drink. So if your pets can have a little, like a little carrier on them, I know this is probably impractical for cats, but if your dogs can have those little backpack carriers on them, that's not the technical term for them, but anyway, the little backpack carriers that dogs have sometimes, you could have some extra food and water in there. And I mean, that's just it. Like if you're going to take your dogs or your animals, they got to eat the same way you got to eat. If you're going to have 3 days worth of food, they got to have 3 days worth of food. So you just kind of have to plan for that. If, you want a separate bag that's going to be like a pet bag, but it's going to be like a roller bag or something, you could do that. Or again, you could do like the little dog backpacks if you have a dog. But yeah. Our pets are a family, and we would defend their lives the same way my wife and I would defend each other. That's right. And that's absolutely right. Just, you said it. My pets are my family. My 6 cats would fill the Jeep. Then what about quail and supplies? So my 6 cats would fill the Jeep. Then what about quail? Do you have quail and supplies? Yeah, well, I think that this is an experiment that you're going to have to deal with. Can supplies go on a little external trailer? Can the supplies go up on a roof rack? Where can the supplies go? What resources do you have on your Jeep that you can take supplies? That's kind of the question you got to ask yourself. So go ahead and put all your cats in there, and then go ahead and put all your supplies and your quail. Yes, go ahead and put everybody, throw everybody in the Jeep and see how it goes. I mean, honestly, that's really kind of the only way you're going to figure it out. And yeah, so, and then, you know, like if you get all your cats in there and you realize, gosh, I have literally no room for any supplies. Well, like I said, maybe you could do like a roof rack, or like a little trailer that hooks into your tailgate. Not your tailgate. I'm forgetting the name now. Anyway, you know, it doesn't have to be like a huge trailer or anything. I don't really like external supplies and stuff, but if you don't have any room inside, you got to do what you got to do, right? I'm just saying, you know. Okay, so, but do we remember to take care of the pets? It's definitely something to discuss with the family. Yeah. I think all family members, the whole household has to be involved in this. You know, don't forget the cats. Hey, can you remember to take the leashes? Hey, could you remember the dog bowls, the water, you know, that they're going to need, you know, whatever. That's right. Leave no children behind. That includes pets. Howdy. Welcome. Yes, there you go. Lawnmower trailer. That'd be great. Yeah, a little rack lawnmower trailer. Yeah. So make it work, you know, figure it out. Like I said, just kind of throw everybody in and then get your supplies in, or get the rack or whatever, and just be like, the tailgate party. That's what I'm calling my bug out party, the apocalypse tailgate. It's the apocalypse tailgate party. All right. With this pet peacock. So, okay, so this is kind of funny, but I mean, if you have these types of animals, like somebody asked me, you know, how would you bug out with chickens? Well, I was thinking a trailer, and you could either put them in crates and then put those on the trailer, or you could do an enclosed trailer and then put those animals in there, just the same way you might have goats or horses or anything like that. But again, make sure that, you know, also sometimes there may be, you know, places that you would actually take them. So like, you may not be taking them to your end bug out location, but maybe you would take them to a safe place that you know would be that safe place, whatever that safe place might be. You know what I mean? Could be a farm that's out of harm's way or whatever, you know, but you'd be making these plans well in advance. It wouldn't be like, you know, spur of the moment, hey, can you take my peacock and my horses? You know, like, you wouldn't be calling them up like as the emergency happened. You'd be making these plans well ahead of time. So, you know, don't just think about your dogs and your cats. Like, if you have any other animals that maybe cannot make it to your end destination for whatever reason, maybe your end destination is a hotel. You're probably not going to be taking a peacock in a hotel. I mean, I don't know. Maybe hotels these days are getting cooler, but I don't know. I'm going to guess no, but I don't know. That's on you to bring that to the hotel's attention. So yeah, peacocks make great security alarms. Boy, do they. We had a neighbor that had a peacock once, and boy, they are loud, but they're awesome. Those peacocks were awesome. They weren't always squawking, but it's like we would walk by and they'd be like, wah, wah. It was like, yeah. So yes, lots of hotels allow pets. That doesn't mean they allow peacocks or chickens or horses. You know what I mean? Yes. Motel 6 allows animals. I believe some Hilton hotels allow animals. Lots of hotels and motels and inns and things, they accept animals. We take our dogs to hotels all the time, but they're dogs. Dogs are different. And sometimes hotels actually will charge more for animals. Be aware of that. Some hotels won't, like Motel 6, they don't charge an extra additional fee or whatever. But If you try to bring a peacock into Red Roof Inn, I would love to hear that experience. I'm just saying. Get a parrot that can sound like a sniper rifle firing for defense, or maybe the machine gun sounds. That is smart. That's using your noggin there. I like it. Whoops. There's that one. Emotional support peacocks. Right. They cannot deny you if it's your emotional support animal. If you bring a peacock into a hotel, you should live stream that. I want you to literally take it to the front desk. Okay. Hold them in your arm. Take it to the front desk. Hello, I'd like to check in. Yes, this is my pet. You said that you allow pets. Well, this is my pet, my emotional support peacock. Okay. And yes, that's another good point. Sometimes the hotels have weight and breed restrictions. A lot of breed restrictions, like if you have, so ridiculous, but they'll, it's usually pit bulls, German shepherds, and I think sometimes huskies. One of my friends had a husky, and they wouldn't allow, like, she couldn't find a hotel to save her life to let her and her husky in. So, breed restrictions are actually a big deal, and weight restrictions. Some of them do. Motel 6, I don't know, has weight restrictions, but I do believe they have breed restrictions. I think some of them, kind of depends. But anyway, again, just know where you're going with this, where you're going with the animals, if they're going to be able to take them, if they're going to be able to go, and if they can't, then they need to go somewhere else, basically. Okay. What else? Hello, welcome. Welcome. How can we save pets during the flood, though? It's kind of a confusing question. Do you mean like the flood is happening, you're not home, and you need to save them? You need to evacuate with them? Well, this is kind of where preparation comes in, though. This is where, this is where a lot of plans and preps comes in. So let's say, that a storm is coming. Now, sometimes flash floods happen. I get that. But sometimes you can watch the weather, hear the weather, kind of pay attention to the weather, and kind of sometimes if you lived in an area with flash floods or flooding or anything like that, that these things might be coming in. Of course, flash floods are very hard, very difficult. Now, if your house, like if you can't evacuate, then your pets can't evacuate. But if you can evacuate, then your pets should be able to evacuate. But I mean, if you're in the middle of a flood and you can't even evacuate, then your pets aren't either. And so basically, if you have horses or chickens or anything like that, you would need to get them to the higher ground. But naturally, instinctually, they will get to the higher ground anyway. Make sure that they have access to that high ground, right? And then, but again, if you're in the middle of a flood and you can't get there, or you can't get there, if you're in the middle of a flood, they're in the middle of a flood. So you kind of have to have the preps and the plans to deal with that. And so, yeah, pool float, depending on the pet, this is really hard because like my dogs, there's no way, I would have to spend a lot of time training them to be on that pool float. I would have to be in the water on that pool float with them every day for an entire summer to get them used to that pool float. Okay. That's pretty serious. And many animals will not deal with that. And yes, you have life vests for your dogs, but then you also have to make sure that the dogs are going to stay with you. Okay. So you have to connect them to you. You have to be connected to something. It's a very serious situation with flooding. High ground, just get to the high ground as high as you can possibly go. Don't try to be floating through the water or anything like that. But, of course, having life vests and stuff like that, but this is all part of your flood plan. What is your flood plan? Your flood plan is going to be the same for your pet. as for you. Okay. And if you're in the middle of the flood and your house is flooding, well, get to the high ground and, get to your roof and do what you can. But, if your life vests and the pool floats and all these things, they do sell little inflatable boats. They're not too expensive. Some of them aren't too expensive. But again, you have to train these pets. They like being on water is kind of scary for dogs, especially dogs and cats. It can be scary for them. So yes, they do, and we have some. Our dogs have had life vests many times when we've been in the canoe, but that kind of doesn't. You still have to have a plan of what you're actually going to do for the flood. Great, everyone has life vests on. Now what? Like the life vests are just to help you not drown. That's basically it. But you don't ever want to try to, you kind of want to avoid that situation if you can. So yeah, so they have lots of inflatable boats that you don't have to actually have like a big boat. Inflatable boats for sure, but again, train your animals to be on the boat because that's a very different experience, and many animals simply will not tolerate it. They'll just freak out. They'll jump out. It could be a really bad scene. Our dogs are good in a canoe, but I don't know how they would be, in like, on like calm waters. I don't know how they would be in crazy, flooding type, of waters conditions. I don't know. So yeah. My lab howled when we had to leave her in the hotel room to visit my mom in the hospital. Yeah. They will actually kick you out. I had one hotel in which one of my dogs used to just bark and bark his head off until we returned, and we realized we can't leave him there. He just literally barked his head off, and the manager told us, your dog was barking the entire time you guys were gone, and we got complaints. And I was like, golly, like that was the first we'd ever heard of that. And so yeah, that can be a really big problem too. So maybe do some test runs with your animals. Unfortunately, I don't have an answer on how to help the animals in that situation. You would consult a professional on how to help the animals with that. So let's see. All right. So basically, it all boils down to whatever your plan is for you and yourself. Oh, hold on 1 second. The muzzles don't keep your dog from barking. Just so you know. Anyway, so basically whatever your plan is for your pets, whatever your plan is for you should be the same plans for your pets. If you plan on evacuating because of this situation or that situation, then guess what? Your pets need to have that exact same plan. If if you're going to be bugging in for this situation, your pets are going to have that exact same plan. Okay. So yeah, whatever plan that they have, you're going to have to, or whatever plan you have, they're going to have. Both ways. They're making the plans for you. Little did you know. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much. Sorry, I missed your live stream. Appreciate you being here. Okay. So, I'm not sure what else to say, really. You know your pet's best. That's kind of all it boils down to. You know your pet's the absolute best. And if you know that your pets get really stressed out or anxious in the car, then it's time to take them on more rides. It's time, if you know that you can't handle your dog when they get really excited about something, then it's time to get some training. If your dogs don't listen to you, it's time to get some training, right? Sometimes it kind of all boils down to the training. We can have our dogs totally off leash. They always are, except for when we're forced to put them on leash, like when we're not at home, like in parks and things like that. then we put them on leash. But if your dogs are not good on leashes and they pull you, that's bad too, and they can get even more anxious and excitable and scared, when they're in different environments. So expose them to different environments. Make sure that, so anyway, but again, your dog's best. Don't overfeed them. If they get super anxious, don't feed them any treats or don't feed them anything if that they get anxious, in certain situations. But if that they live to eat, then treats will be their best friends. If they love certain toys, don't you forget those toys, because there's definitely some animals that are very attached to their toys, whether it's a ball or a squeaky toy or whatever the heck it is, So yeah, I think Mando brings up a good point here. Our pets know how to behave under ideal conditions, but how will they behave while we're under the stress of a real crisis and real bug out in not ideal conditions? And this is why we train, and this is why we're going to be putting them in different situations. This is why we're going to put them in the car and go, riding around. This is why we're going to take them camping with us. This is why we're going to take them hiking with us, and, et cetera, et cetera. You don't want to intentionally put them in stressful situations, but you need to understand how to handle them if they're stressed and you're stressed and everybody's stressed, right? In a stressful situation, then having those plans and the training and all that will come in handy. So, yeah. Anyway, I actually do want to say one thing here. Should train pets young. I can bathe cats easily. Harness training is pretty easy. All dogs can be trained at any age, period. I've had old dogs that can learn new tricks. It's very easy, actually. The old adage, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, is completely wrong. I've taught dogs of all ages, young and old, new tricks. So, but cats can be a little more stubborn. But yeah, again, it's kind of all situational with your pet too. Some pets are very stubborn, and some pets, will take extra care and extra attention, or they'll take specialized training. Sometimes it's owner and pet miscommunication. You as an owner you're just not understanding what your pet needs. It happens. Don't be afraid to try to improve yourself as, a pet owner. Like, just, always try to be improving yourself in general, but try to make sure that you're always trying to, get be better understanding of your pets. And so sometimes that's better understanding of you so that you can better understand your pets. So, yeah, so let's see. If I ever get a dog, he's getting one of those brandy casts. Yeah. No. Let him carry around dog food and water. That'll be better. If we encounter snakes during bugging out in the woods, and if our pets are bitten, better be prepped for that. I bought a simple device called venom extractors. Those venom extractors, I'm not going to go too big into it, but they're not good. Don't use them. Second, there's actually snake training classes in which you can train your animals or train your dogs how to react to snakes. One of my friend's dog was actually bitten by a venomous snake, and she took them to a class, or she took her dog to a class, and it's actual snake training class, and they trained the dog to look out for cats and look out for snakes, and to actually avoid the snake altogether. So it's a good class if you ever have something around your area in which you can take your dogs or animals to learn to be trained with around snakes, you know, to avoid snakes, basically. It's good. So, so yeah, everybody has their own ideas for taking care of their own pets, and that's really good. But I really highly encourage as much training as possible. I just can't stress that enough. You know, even if you feel like you're training your dogs or animals super well, bring in that professional, because that's what they are. They're a professional, and maybe they can offer insight that you've never thought of before. You know, I don't know how many times I've tried to do something with one of my dogs and it's just not connecting, but a third-party professional comes in and suddenly make it click for you, and it all comes together. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, it's important. So get that get your pet bug out bag together. I would have food, water, first aid kit, just a general first aid kit. Plus there's a few extra little things. I would get a little mini dog. There's dog first aid pamphlets on what to do specifically for dogs. Like CPR is different for dogs. You know, treating dogs certain ways is a little bit different. So yeah, first aid, if they need any treats, you know, if they're going to want any treats, put that in there. If you can put their leash and collar at least near that bug out bag, that's great. Or maybe an extra set so that you really don't forget that leash and collar. So that it's kind of just all together. That's great too. But, and then you could do like a checklist, you know, if they have any medications that they need to take. Like our dog, our older dog, he's like around 11 years old now, and he's just kind of on pain pills now pretty much the rest of his life, because he was hit by a car right before we got him, and then we adopted him, and he's just had really bad arthritis in that leg, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. So yeah, so that bug out bag could be the little pet backpacks, or it could be just like a little extra backpack that you'll be carrying, or like a little roll bag, or whatever is going to be, you know, convenient for you. So yeah, get the you know your dog best. If they need any other special needs, any other special toys, any other special stuff for them, then you'll get that for them. So, but not everybody is going to be the same, you know. Like I see here a dog compression thunder shirt. Our dogs don't need that. If your dog does, great. If your cat always needs, you know, a little toy, great, bring it, you know. But every animal is going to be different. You know your animal best, just like you know your kids best, just like you know yourself best, and you're going to prep exactly what they need based on, you know, how well you know your pet. So yeah. All right. Okay, let's see. Yes, thank you. He's fine. He's totally active. He runs and plays, and he acts like his leg is just totally fine. But then when he stands, and you can just see his back leg like literally doing this, and I'm just like, just relax, like just stop. But the vet said, you know, as long as he's up and wants to move, don't discourage him, you know. Just we give him glucosamine and pain pills, and just give him the best life possible. That's all I can do. So, I'll be carrying my dog after 5 or 6 miles, doggy in the backpack. You could have a little pull behind wagon, a little wagon. Or you could get a baby carrier, a little baby push cart. Put your dogs in there. I've seen it. I literally just saw it at the vet today. I took our dogs to the vet today. I saw it. I saw a dog being pushed in a little, I think it was specifically 4 dogs. It was a little dog carrier thing they were pushing. It was neat. It was cool, actually. So yeah. All right. I think that's about it. I think that's all I have to say on this topic. Again, you know your animals best. You see your dogs in stroller. I think it's kind of neat. I think that that animals need exercise, but at a certain point, like maybe you have an older dog with an injury, or animals that just simply don't want to walk. Cats sometimes have a hard time walking or running for long distances, so maybe they'll need some sort of like little stroller or something. It's fine. It's fine. Put them in a little stroller. Who cares? You know? I don't care. Nobody cares. This is an emergency situation. Whatever you got to do to make your life easier, who cares? You know, I think people are just so weird about like, you know, doing these things for their animals or kids or whatever. It's like you want them to be comfortable as much as you want to be comfortable. So whatever, who cares? Okay, one last thing here. Let's see. Something else to consider about pet stress is that some pets depend on their routine. A crisis or a bug out can interrupt the routine. Consider offering more comfort sessions to reduce their anxiety. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of what I was saying earlier about like the whole eating. And, you know, if you bring your animal into a totally different situation outside of their routine, it can make them anxious or upset. And then if you feed them, it can actually make them worse. But again, every animal is different. Don't take that as like, you know, well, it's a bug out situation. I'm not going to feed my animal now. Always offer them food. But if you have an animal that lives to eat, but they're really stressed out or getting crazy, and then you try to feed them, both their anxiety or excitement could actually upset their stomach, and then the vomiting happens. So you just got to know your dog and put them in different situations. Take them into the car, you know, take them to the park, take them to your friend's house, you know, if they're allowed or whatever, you know, just do whatever. And take them in different environments, you know, expose them a little bit more. And again, get that outside training, that professional training. It will help. I know, but it will. It will. Speaking of motorcycles, have you seen the dog that goes flying? Yes, there is I think it's a bulldog. It's a bulldog that goes up flying with the you know, the guy's flying. The dog is not flying, okay, but the guy is flying, and the English bulldog he's the passenger, and he just goes and flies with him. But that's a dog that loves it, you know. Take him. I don't know. I want to take our dogs up flying, but holy moly, I don't know how they're going to react to that. Like, I'm kind of scared a little bit. I want to one day, but anyway, see a trike. Sure. Bicycles, trikes. Great. Do it. Whatever's going to work for you. All right. I think that's about it. So thank you all so much for all of your suggestions and ideas, but I just really want you guys to put this stuff on paper, and I want you guys to do as much training with your pets as possible for just everyday life, as well as those emergencies and disasters and stuff like that. And just get them out there, you know, expose them to different things. And, you know, if your dog has trouble with something, then help them out with it, you know, just like you would a kid or yourself, you know, help them. Help me help you, help me help you, help you help them, help you. Okay. All right. So thank you all so much for all of your comments and suggestions and tips. And again, you know your pet best. Do what's going to be best for you and your pet. and make those plans and contact people that you need to contact. If you can't take care of them, maybe somebody else is willing to. In times of disaster, if you're not able to make it home, you need to have those contingency plans for all of your animals, not just dogs and cats, but if you have any other animals that need tending to. So thank you all so much. I really appreciate you, and I will see you guys next week on the live chat. You guys are great. All right. I'll talk to you later. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. Have a great, fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.